West, with a distinguished career in public service, sees a threat to Canadian democracy and maybe even national independence. We're joined by Lloyd Axworthy, chair of the World Refugee and Migration Council and former Liberal Minister for Foreign Affairs under the Jean Chrétien government. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Well, good to be here.
You wrote an op-ed for the Globe and Mail, really alarming. You said we can look to Ukraine as a possible warning of what's ahead for Canada or what could be a threat for Canada. Are things that bad?
I think with the recent declarations of Donald Trump, we're really put in Canada and for that matter, most of the rest of the world in a very precarious and risky situation because he's made it clear that he no longer recognizes or believes in fundamental rules of sort of diplomatic restraint, of law and order. It's just power makes right. And Ukraine faced the same kind of threat by Putin. And now you have Putin and Trump working together. That's a very toxic cocktail to take down. And I think we have to wake up and really recognize and learn from the Ukrainians how we have to provide a counterpoint.
What can we do? I mean, militarily, we're obviously just a minnow compared to the USA.
Well, I think we should provide very clear priorities. For example, one area that is absolutely essential that we assert Canadian sort of management of controls in the Arctic. This is, part of our heritage. This is part of our legacy going back hundreds of years. We have to be very careful that we don't simply fall into an American interpretation of what security is. This is a place where we have to show our strength, enhance what we do, build up the ranger program. 70% of the inhabitants, residents, are Indigenous people. They must be given a much stronger role in the governance and the security issues. There's one area that I think we have to be really alert, and the other one, which I really talk about in the piece in the Globe and Mail, is the election we're going to be having in Canada in the next 3 or 4 months. Mm-hmm. A combination of Musk, his money, and his access through these digital platforms, mm-hmm. and Trump and his kind of MAGA crowd, I think could make life very difficult in our election by trying to distort, share disinformation, and make our electoral system untrustworthy.
How are we going to, I mean, you're worried, I know, about disinformation, perhaps via Twitter and other sources. You do say Musk is mm-hmm. capable of that. How can we protect against that? It's so insidious.
Well, I call in the op-ed, I think Parliament has to be brought into session. I know it's prorogued because there's a Liberal leadership. I'm very aware of that. But I think we have to do as the Ukrainians did in 2019, use the election as an opportunity to give a very solid, straight statement from all the parties in the House that Canadian independence is not up for grabs or for sale or for takeover. And I think that can be a rallying cry for Canadians to take all kinds of actions, including when we come to elections, making sure that we provide the kind of filtering of the disinformation that Elon Musk and mm-hmm. Donald Trump use to great effect in his own election in the United States.
It would be nice to see Pierre Poilievre, Justin Trudeau, and Jagmeet Singh stand together and say that on a stage. I know it would be theatrical, maybe corny, but it would be a good thing to see, maybe.
No, I was the head of the Canadian Election Observer Mission in Ukraine in 2019, and what I came away with was how impressed I was by ordinary Ukrainian citizens seeing that this election was their chance to make a statement on behalf of their country. And I think part of the reason they've been able to organize the defiant response to Putin that they have is because that election brought people together. I think we have a similar kind of challenge in front of us.
As you know, Europeans are frustrated, but with meddling in their politics by Elon Musk. Apparently, it's even contributed to a fall in Tesla car sales. But I presume you would like to see us connect with Europe more closely on this.
I think right now, I think there's two places I think we need to connect with. Europe for sure, because I think we're facing the same kinds of threats. The other is Mexico, which has been our partner in North America, trying to provide a counterbalance to the very big weight of the United States. Canada has not been very good in its relations with Mexico. I think it's time that we put a lot of effort into having Mexico as a partner to provide a balance to the Trump efforts on our borders, inside our countries, and to think that he can simply make a dictate about what he wants, and we're all going to fall over and say, how high should we jump? I think we need Mexico as a partner, and Europe. That would be a really good start and a new set of alliances and arrangements.
It's interesting. I was reading your bio on Wikipedia, and you have an enormous, back in the 1960s, apparently, you were converted to being a liberal. You heard a speech by Lester Pearson. But then you were frustrated when Pearson supported having American nuclear weapons on Canadian soil, and you briefly left the Liberals. So you've been thinking about this relationship for a long time.
I have, and I think, if I can make a small plug, I found one of the things about being a liberal at that time is there was lots of room for making sort of dissenting comments, of having different opinions from what the establishment wanted. And I think we've lost that ability. I think the political parties need to be refurbished and restored as real areas of serious engagement, serious involvement of Canadians, not just as election machines. That's one of the areas where our own democracy has to improve.
Yeah, it does seem there's kind of robotic obedience these days from MPs.